Hey guys, what's going on? It's Karl here, back with another episode, and today we're checking out a smartphone finally, maybe one of the first that I've checked out in 2017. It's been a while for some of those videos. It seems like there's a tad bit of a lull in the tech scene, but this is none other than the HTC U Ultra. I've been using this now for almost the past month. It is my revisited review on maybe one of the most coveted phones, or at least they used to be. I used to love HTC. The M7 was maybe my favorite phone of that generation. And for that very reason, I've always had the biggest soft spot for HTC whenever they announced their new phones, even though we were let down last year, maybe the year before that. I've always got high hopes and thinking they'll bring back some of that charm from the M7. So this year, HTC was the first out of the gates with its new flagship lineup. It's now followed by the LG G6, soon to be the S8, and eventually the Google Pixel 2. Coming early isn't always a good thing, and maybe this case we kind of see why. It's a bit confusing also as they have two models, the HTC U Ultra and the U Play. You want to get the U Ultra if you are grabbing one. It's the higher end model, and it's their official highest end flagship that you can get of 2017. They've migrated away from the aluminum unibody design from the famous M7 and M8, and now they've gone with a completely radical design of all glass, which kind of leads me to two things over the time that I've been using it. A, the #1 fingerprint sensor on the market, even more so than the iPhone 7 Plus in jet black. And two, just like that iPhone, it scratches so easily, so this is the first phone that I'm gonna recommend. Throw a case or a skin on it right when you get the phone. It does come with one in the box, but of course we've got this D-brand black and orange color combo. As you know, orange happens to be the jam, and I think this is the perfect combination. Despite the glass back, if you are very particular and manage to keep this guy clean and perhaps don't touch the back, it looks absolutely beautiful when it's free. Other design cues though, just kind of check out how large this phone is. It's got a 5.7-inch screen, Quad HD, with an extra dual screen that's 2 inches up top, more on that in a bit, but this kind of adds to the overall size and extreme footprint of the U Ultra. A lot of Android people, I see them lurking in the comments, always mention how large and how unsightly my iPhone 7 Plus is. The U Ultra is bigger. And this is maybe a prime example of sometimes being bigger isn't always better. You heard it here first. And when you look at the LG G6, which has an even larger aspect ratio of 18:9, manages to be smaller than the U Ultra once again. And honestly, I thought I could get used to it, but it's just too big. Too big for my hand. I can already foresee the #1 comment on this video. With that large size, you can only hope that HTC tried to cram in some pretty awesome features into the U Ultra. For example, a large battery, some pretty awesome sounding speakers, and maybe a headphone jack. Two of those which have kind of failed. Fail #1, no headphone jack on the device. They've followed Apple's footsteps. We just have a USB-C port at the bottom. Thankfully, it does come with a very good sounding pair of headphones in the box. They just kind of feel cheaper than how they sound, and unfortunately, if you lose these, you kind of are very limited. On my iPhone 7 Plus, I don't feel that issue as much, as we do have AirPods, which I still think are the best in-ear solutions for headphones. I know there are other options out there, they're just not as simple to use as my AirPods. That's just my own opinion. Second fail, with this size, you're hoping they crammed a very large battery inside, and we are sadly mistaken at only 3,000 milliamps of juice. Don't get me wrong, it lasts me the entire day, every single day for the past month, but if you look at the Google Pixel XL, 3,500 milliamps, you would have just loved to see a 3,750, maybe something crazy like a 4,000 milliamp hour battery that could possibly last 2 days, and that could be one of the main selling features. Sadly, I've been charging this at the end of the day, which isn't a deal breaker, but it doesn't give it a one-up on its competitors. And maybe the third fail, which is very reminiscent to the M7 and the M8, why I love those phones so much. They had the front-facing boom sound speakers. The U Ultra does have boom sound, but we've just got the speaker on the bottom. I wish they would have utilized this rather large chin on the bottom, maybe even up top, for some awesome sounding front-facing speakers. Once again, gives it that extra step up against its competitors, and I'd be really struggling to justify to buy this guy at $750, whereas a Pixel XL is $20 more. It has stock Android, it's quicker, it's smoother, it gets updates faster. There's just nothing that's giving this that extra little bump up, which is just such a shame, as I've always really loved HTC and they've always been my favorite over on the Android side. Switching tunes onto some features which I've actually really enjoyed using on the U Ultra, the first being the always on or the second display on the top of the device. Nothing new, nothing groundbreaking, but I've actually been using it way more than I thought for A, tracking the weather in this awful snowstorm that we're stuck in here in Toronto, and B, just switching to some of my favorite contacts that I usually always text or phone. And the second feature being the cameras. On the back, we've got a 12 ultra pixel camera, and you know the entire science behind the ultra pixel, better for low light performance. I found that overall this competes kind of close to the Pixel XL. Isn't the greatest, especially with the Galaxy S8 coming out in the very near future, but if we look at the front-facing cam, this is a 60 megapixel ultra pixel camera. This thing takes maybe some of the best selfies, and who doesn't love selfies, Snapchat, Insta stories? This is where this thing shines, being a huge fan of it. Just like the common theme of the Ultra throughout this video, that kind of extends to the internal hardware of the device also. It's got the Snapdragon 821, which is a great processor, but will probably be outdated by the middle of this year. It also has 4 gigs of RAM, expandable memory up to 2 terabytes, but honestly, nothing too revolutionary for $750. If this was priced at around $600, maybe $550, I would have been completely on board. And I really want to give HTC props. I think they are surviving barely by a thread in the smartphone industry. I will always have the biggest soft spot for them. This year remains the same. I just don't think they've done enough to make the majority of the population switch over, which is kind of what they need at this point. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the U Ultra. If you happen to pick one up, let me know what your favorite feature is down below. Don't take too many selfies, and I will catch the rest of you in one of my next episodes or in one of my vlogs. Peace.